Yes, Counsel, listen.
Your Lordships, respectfully, we have before you this morning a motion or notice for review of the judgment of the ordinary bench dated 17th April 2024 under Article 1331 of the Constitution 1992 and Rule 54A of the Supreme Court.
Suppose you want me to write, don't you? You want me to write?
Yes, my lord, I am sorry.
What under Article?
Under Article 1331 of the Constitution 1992.
Yes.
And Rule 54A of CI 16.
Yes.
Your Lordship, respectfully, we beg to move in terms of the motion paper, the supporting affidavit, and the exhibit attached. Your Lordship will rely entirely on a statement of case filed on even date 17th May 2024.
Filed on when?
On the 17th of May 2024.
Yes. Is there anything that you want to add?
Yes, Your Lordship, if I may kindly address the court on a few points.
A few points?
Yes, a few points, Your Lordship.
Okay, yes, go.
Your Lordship, respectfully, this review application is brought on the strength of Rule 54A of CI 16,
Please.
where we are stating clearly that
You said that. You said that already.
where we are stating clearly that the exceptional circumstances which has led to a miscarriage of justice, which warrants the review of the ordinary bench's decision dated 17.
What are the exceptional circumstances?
Yes. Your Lordship, the nature of exceptional circumstance is that this honorable court, in delivering its decision, refused or neglected to pronounce and determine a specific grounds of appeal, grounds III, and the failure to pronounce on that particular grounds, which in our view was material to the determination of the appeal, constitutes exceptional circumstances. Your Lordship, the authority, we take guidance and we place reliance on the authority of this honorable court of Tamaklo versus the Republic. Your Lordship, 2011 1 Supreme Court Ghana Law Report at page 29. Your Lordship, if I may read respectfully, the decision states, where a decision was a product of a very serious inadequate consideration of the case presented, that is where the court had overlooked very material and practically decisive matters.
Counsel, I thought you said you rely entirely on your statement of case.
Yeah.
And this is, what you are saying is very well articulated in your statement of case.
Yes, my lord.
So why are you rehashing your statement of case?
Respectfully, your lordship, no. I'm laying the foundation to tease out a very important point before this court.
Tease away.
Yes, my lord. Your lordship, the point is that the specific ground of appeal which is in contention Statement of case. Your Chief Justice, I apologize just a second. The Lordship, the specific ground in contention is this, that the Court of Appeal erred in holding that the second defendant was liable in negligence for the injury caused to the plaintiff when the second defendant had no responsibility over the dogs and was not owner or keeper of the dogs. Your Lordship, respectfully, if you go through the entirety of the judgment of this court, through the lines and the pages and the paragraphs, nowhere that this honorable court pronounced on this particular ground. This particular ground was formulated to bring out two critical issues, which seem to have been glossed over by the trial court and the Court of Appeal, and unfortunately this honorable court, I say that respectfully. And that is the fact that in delivering its judgment, this honorable court states as a fact that the first defendant is the owner of the dogs that caused the injury to the plaintiff. It is also an uncontroverted fact that the only connection between the first defendant and the second defendant is that they operated on the same premises. While the first defendant used the premises as a residential premises, the second defendant used the premises as a commercial premises for operating a factory. Your Lordship, the reason why the distinction is critical is because in the issue, when it comes to the issue of negligence, specifically this case where a dog bites somebody and causes injury, the critical question, no, not causes injury. The critical question is who is the owner, keeper, or who has control? Because the duty bearer is the person who has ownership control over the dog.
How about the person who has ownership and control over the premises?
Your Lordship,
from where the
dog?
Yes, Your Lordship, the case is settled. Even the case where the honorable court relied upon is settled. Also, the court actually made reference with and relied upon something. Relied on a case that did not mention that particular provision.
We didn't even advert our mind to it.
Your Lordship, the point I'm making is that in respect of answering the specific question, this court, placing reliance on the case in question, did not address that particular question.
Counsel. You see, review is conceptually different from an appeal.
Yes.
And it has been clearly stated that if the court adverted its mind to it, and it even came to a conclusion which is wrong,
for the original case,
you do not, our jurisdiction to review is not proper to invoke it. It's not proper to invoke our jurisdiction to review. That is why you wanted to get around this by saying that we didn't even advert our minds to it. But from what you just said, it looks like we adverted our minds to it, but the conclusion that we came to, you were not happy with it.
Respectfully, Your Lordship, not at all. Because that particular case stated emphatically, and if Your Lordships would permit me, I would read, in response, direct response to Your Lordship's question, whether a person who allows a dog on his premises to cause injury is liable in negligence. And the answer is an emphatic no. Your Lordship, in the case of North versus London Council, 1934, one case at page 126, Your Lordship, this is what the court stated. That the knowledge of the schoolkeeper that the dogs was accustomed to attack mankind was not acquired by him as a servant of the defendant, and the plaintiff showed no cause of action against the defendant. I think, so per Lord Wright, he says, I think both the common law and legislature in the Dogs Act 1906 have recognized that a dog which has been described
again, what you are referring to is clearly stated in your statement of case.
My Lord, it's not. It was stated in the statement of case in respect of the appeal itself, but not the review.
So why are you referring to it?
My Lordship, it's because of a question that has been posed, and because there was you have to be careful not to relitigate the matter. But the question is specific.
Counsel.
Yes, my Lord.
Look at page. You didn't even page your statement of case. But you made reference to North versus London County Council 1994.
Yes.
On, I don't know, you didn't page your you didn't page your statement of case, but it is there. What you are reading. I just want to, because you've said you have relied on your statement of case.
Yes.
Naturally, we have read it, or we will read it. So if you are going to tell us you have anything to add, then it is something that should be substantially different from what you have here. But you seem to be saying the same, repeating what you've just written here. And you are just, it looks like we'll be wasting our time if you continue to do that.
Respectfully, Your Lordship, the question that my Lord raised is what is at the heart of this review. That having so determined that the dogs did not belong to the second defendant company and they were not keeper or owner, the law is established that it is only the keeper or owner who is liable in negligence. First, who owes a duty and also is liable in negligence.
How about the owner of the premises?
My Lord, that's what we are saying, that the case makes it very, very clear that the owner of the premises
That's not what's done.
Yes, my Lord.
You have referred to North versus London County Council in your statement of case.
My Lord, then that particular reference was in respect of a particular ground, which had to do with leaving. My Lord, this is the point that it says in Smith versus Great Eastern Railway Company.
So hold on.
Yes.
Let me read part of your statement of case to you, which is not paid. Because my Lord, can you the last verse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe. He said, my Lord, grounds 3 became relevant for consideration, having regard to the fact that the first appellate court rested its decision of imposing liability on the applicant on the strength of the authority of North versus London County Council. Yes. So, what, and you go on to quote, a person who owns a dog so and so and is kept in a manner that will restrain so and so. What is the different point you seek to make now?
Yes, Your Lordship, in placing reliance on the North case, what this court was referring to was that the court had come to an assumption, an erroneous statement that the first defendant and the second defendant were both owners of the dog. It is that which unsurprisingly led this court to the error it made in respect of who bears the legal duty. Your Lordship, because if you look at
how do you fit this in a ground for review?
But my Lord, the ground for review.
It's not, bear in mind that it's not an appeal.
Yes, my Lord. This is the first time we are raising that question, that there must be a distinction between the first defendant and the second defendant. That is why we raised this ground of appeal. And that this
ground, I like that, ground of appeal. That's why you raised this ground of appeal. Because it's a ground of appeal.
No, not for the ground for review. And that the main point is that in this court, in the ordinary bench, even though it had found as a fact that it was the first defendant who was the owner and the keeper and the controller of the dog, still proceeded in conclusion to say that the dogs were, it was the defendant's dog, and therefore fixed that liability, the duty of care on the second defendant, when the second defendant in law had absolutely no duty. And my Lordship...
So are you saying, just for the sake of argument, that who had the duty, the first defendant, not the second defendant?
Absolutely. So we have not tried to relitigate, even though respectfully we disagree.
And the first defendant is an employee of the second, just to put this...
Yes, it's a director of the
first is a director of the second defendant.
Correct.
But so the liability you are saying is for the first defendant, not the second defendant. That's what you are saying.
Absolutely.